Years ago, this year, the world went mad for the Monkees. 9 studio albums, over 50 episodes of their television show, an hour-long TV special, a feature-length film, concert tours around the world, all between 1966 and 1970. They did more in those years than most artists hope to do in a lifetime, and it started with a newspaper ad. A couple of guys wanting to cast a TV show about a Beatles-like band. 400 people showed up to audition, but only 4 made the cut. Davy Jones, who had played on Broadway as Oliver, Mickey Dolenz, who was a childhood star already from Circus Boy in the 50s. When Stephen Stills didn't make the cut, he recommended his buddy Peter Tork. And Mike Nesmith, perhaps the only one to actually answer the newspaper ad, rode to the audition on a motorcycle with a green cap to keep the hair out of his eyes. These guys became my all-time favorite band, the Monkees. I'm not a part of the band, but the studio recruited some of the best songwriters of that era to fulfill the Monkees catalog. Neil Diamond, Neil Sedaka, Neil Armstrong, all of the Neils. That's one of Mickey's jokes. But 2 of the most instrumental songwriters were Tommy Boyce and Bobby Hart. They wrote the Monkees' first hit, The Last Train to Clarksville, apparently inspired by a small town Bobby Hart's family drove through on summer vacations called Clarkdale, right here in Arizona. That's right. With these great hits and a well-rated TV show, you would think the Monkees would have been on top of the world, but they were highly criticized for being a manufactured band. That contention came to a head on this very day, October 28th, 1966, when J.C. Penney sent their studio a memo asking if they could use a photo from a recent fashion shoot for the cover of their next album. The studio agreed, but the Monkees were pissed. And they decided to seize creative control of their work. So on their next album, called Headquarters, the Monkees played all of the instruments themselves. They produced the tracks all by themselves. This was unheard of back then. There were backing bands and studio musicians for that kind of thing. But now the Monkees had something to prove. They even booked their own opening acts, like Jimi Hendrix. Jimmy lasted about 7 shows on the Monkees tour, but he got sick of teeny boppers shouting, "We want Davy," while he's up there like, "Bill, Foxy Lady, we want Davy." That was arguably the beginning of the end for the Monkees, and the guys that started their TV show wanted to launch their movie-producing careers. So with a young Jack Nicholson, they wrote a movie for the Monkees called Head. You would never know the Monkees were in it because its marketing was so avant-garde, it never mentioned them. It was a commercial failure. It gave the producers just enough money to make their next film, Easy Rider, but nothing was going easy for the Monkees. Peter, then Mike, left the group, and their last album from this era was just Mickey and Davy together, who toured a few times in the 70s, but nothing notable happened in Monkees history until 1979 at that point, when I was born, a super Monkees fan. Here's my brother and me singing along to the Monkees song, I'll Be Back Upon My Feet, in 1980, let's say 4. The Monkees were the first album I ever bought with my own money, the first concert I ever went to in 1986, the first TV show I ever binged, and their constant connection to their fans is an ongoing inspiration to me. Consider this story from right here in the valley. At Sweetwater and Cave Creek Road in 1967, a young lady was crossing the street when she got struck by a truck and she lost her leg. When Davy heard about this, and especially that the young lady had a Monkees album under her arm, he flew to the valley and visited her in the hospital. At a loss for something to autograph for her, he gave her his own driver's license. That's a picture from the Arizona Republic. Consider Sandy, who followed the Monkees on tour just this year when her husband died at the young age of 60. When Mickey heard this story at their San Francisco show, he brought Sandy backstage for this picture. And it, helped her grieve for her husband and remember the good times she had as a kid. It's a picture very much like the one I have with Mickey and all of the other Monkees that I met legitimately. I didn't stalk them between 2006 and 2013. When you meet your heroes in real life, you realize the thing they've meant to you is real as well, pursuing artistic integrity. You know, Mickey likens the transformation of the Monkees into a real band as like Leonard Nimoy becoming a Vulcan. But I think it's more like Clark Kent, mild-mannered, going into the phone booth and answering the call of show business and becoming something bigger, something better than they were, that changed the world and my life for the better. I don't know about you, but when it comes to the Monkees, when I saw her face, now I'm a bit... Thank you.